Some players started 2024 with new titles like Pal World or are upset about the treatment of the lore in games like Suicide Squad killed Justice League. I, on the other hand, had to uninstall Traveler's Rest, as ever since I came across this title during January's sale called Capitalism and Economy, I could not stop playing it. So on this early access review, we are going to be going over the game in its current state, in which I was able to experience something that draws inspiration from multiple games. And so if you are a fan of games like Graveyard Keeper, Stardew Valley and other titles which combine farming, fishing and other activities into one addictive gaming loop, this game, even with a lot of content which might be added later, at who knows what time, and I'm not here to speculate because I have not checked the roadmap, but just looking over what is available, I'm able to say that this game is going to be great, and one day if the developers keep working on the game and finish it and fully release the title, I can be quite skeptical when that might happen, but if they will eventually accomplish this game has great potential for 100 days in a video game. I'm telling you that right now. So Traveler's Rest combines, as I mentioned, aspects of multiple pre-existing games, and thus it creates an addictive and fun game loop in which your role as the innkeeper means that you will need to keep your guests happy, and immediately you will start to notice as if the team behind development of the game has some food industry experience, as your guests will make a mess on the tables or be straight up rude, and you have to go and fulfill this hidden desire to smack them with the broom and kick them out of your establishment. And because you need to manage the inn and build it up, you will need to gather, craft, brew, cook, manage supplies, staff, in order to keep the profit and keep growing your business, and over time turn your inn into the fanciest tavern in the entire kingdom. Here is where the biggest issues for me appear and kind of cause things to drag on a little longer or cause the game to have a much longer start than it normally should have, as I have not found another way of making profit besides serving customers, and trust me, you will want to work on being able to serve something else than porridge or a glass of water. But with the established means of making profit, the game might feel for a lot of people highly repetitive, as it will take a while for you to acquire funds to be accumulated in order for you to afford certain things to improve or change the mechanics or the overall game loop, giving you a little bit more freedom in the process. The deviation from standard mechanics of farming sims, as I am shocked, and I did not even realize that the broom is meant to be used as a weapon, as normally you are given some sort of rusty sword. This means that I have been passing by so many turkeys, and I could have been smacking them with the broom and get the meat for free, and be able to serve like some sort of basic meat broth or get some early meat dish instead of waiting for me to grow the first batch of crops so I can cook some beans or lentils and have a lot of flatulent guests. And this will be interesting to see in later tool upgrading, if it will be implemented, or some sort of dungeon where you would be able to go and use that broom on something else than some dirt on the floor or a rowdy customer. And trust me, you will have as much fun using the broom on your guest as if it would be Hogwarts Legacy, where you use it just to fly around. I was also cracking up a lot because, especially at the start when you serve your guests only water and porridge, which includes water, the guests tend to complain about how the meals and drinks are being watered down. But compared to other titles, and this is also, as I'm not sure if it's because of the game being in early access, does not have an energy bar or needs to upgrade or heck even refill the watering can, so you can keep watering crops to all your heart desire. This is where I, however, am not sure, and some speculations come to be included in the review, as when I looked over the game's page on Steam, I found out it has been released all the way back in 2020, and that is a big red flag for me. As if it would come out in like 2022, I can just recommend it and tell you to go and try it out now, but as I still remember, when Graveyard Keeper was released in its early access, and I'm so sentimental, I still have the file I was able to get from the official website, even before it had an official Steam page, because that game is so important to me and because it's something with which I started my YouTube journey. It just hits those right spots for me, I guess. But I also see the resemblance in how they are approaching the game, as currently you have multiple deposits of coal, copper, and iron just on the land adjacent to your inn where you can build and farm, and other parts of the map are inaccessible. This was the same in Graveyard Keeper before it was fully released, and eventually that has changed, so you would be able to travel somewhere far off where you would need to gather the ore or coal and other resources and then have to bring them back to your establishment to process them for processed goods which you need in order to craft or something. And this can potentially be still changed while maintaining its fun factor. Question is, when will it happen, and how much will they deviate from what they have established now, and what the other farming simulators have established previously, which we came to be accustomed to. Your protagonist will be truly a centerpiece of the game, as you will have multiple tech trees and experience or reputation points that you will need to obtain in order to level up and become much better at managing your tavern. First, there is the crafting tech tree from Graveyard Keeper, where you get red, green, blue points for crafting, farming, and doing spiritual activities or intellectual activities. This allows you currently to access only a portion or a specific part of the crafting from either iron, stone, or copper. I have not discovered different materials so far, or they might change with the updates and patches. Eventually, you will be able to use these points to also unlock different brewing recipes, as each of them will have different basic selling price. The variation of beverages is amazing already, and the fact that you can mix it in up to 3 ingredients, which can include anything from fruits to hops to honey, yeast, and other ingredients, that can greatly increase the basic selling price of an item from some laughable 1 silver 30 copper to like 12 silver because you put in 2 melons or pineapple and created your own brand of vodka or some fancy other beverage. This is where you will find another reference to Graveyard Keeper, as the currency works on the same principle. 100 coppers are 1 silver, and 100 silvers are 1 golden coin. And money will need to flow in and out of your coffer, and here's where I noticed that the game is being worked on while I was playing it, as when I picked it up initially and I started to play it in January, I had one big problem with the game besides not being able to sell things besides just serving the clients, and that was that the cost of the seeds was the same as the cost of the fully grown crops. I'm not sure if this was patched out or I was just simply able to change it because I leveled up my bargaining skill, but seriously, I still think it would be quite stupid to let the players purchase the fully grown crops for the same price as the seeds that you can simply buy, as it would eliminate the whole process and need for you to have to farm in the first place or water the crops. And who knows if later there will be sprinklers or other mechanics. Watering of the crops is also fun because you will see that they are kind of withering, and when you water them, they will as if regain their full color. So this is a really nice mechanic, and it's definitely a deviation from the previously boring established game mechanics where you just see the same type of crop over and over again, and if you water them, there's overall no change. And on the rainy days, of course, you don't have to even water the crops. You can also get a scarecrow, but I have not come across something like crows or mice or anything that would be messing with your crops. And currently there is a locked screen for magic and relationships, so this can be also a fun aspect. As currently the game will give you like a magical broom, but I have not figured out for the life of it how to use it, and having a relationship with someone can have a fun twist, as who knows, maybe you can end up getting married and having a bunch of kids, aka cheap labor force, because your employees can be a tricky bunch. Cool thing is that they can have perks and quirks, giving you benefits like more reputation for beverages or meat dishes served, but they can either be clumsy, expensive, or slow at pouring drinks. The fact that you can have 4 classes of employees, which currently are the bartender, server, bouncer, and the maid, that is quite nice, because in your inn, it's not just about serving watered down porridge, but also allowing your guests to sleep over and help you earn some extra coin and reputation. The mechanics about housing your guests are tricky, as thankfully the first room you are able to craft is given to you for free as part of the tutorial. But if you will want to craft the next one, you will need to spend some serious dinero. In my playtime until the winter period, I was able to build 1 extra room, and just that alone cost me almost 30 gold, and that's not including also the stone and other resources which I had to spend. And every room needs to have certain accommodations like bed, table, seat. You need to put in some decoration in order for it to have some sort of comfort level. And you need to light up a candle or have some sort of light in there in order for your guests to even be willing to sleep there. So that alone will accumulate quite a lot of funds that you will need to spend in order to have the guests. And for you to actually see the return on this will take quite a lot of people to sleep over there at night for you to actually get the return. The fun thing is that all you need to do in order to house the next guest is just to make the bed, wipe the table, potentially replenish the candle, but you don't need to do the laundry. I mean, that's quite disgusting, but I mean, it's a video game, so who knows? And you do want to make sure that you have the money, as this way if you are unhappy with your current employee, you can fire them and hire a new one. They will start off and over time accumulate experience so you can level up their skill. This will lead to players eventually hunting for those best employees, as I noticed that some of them can have up to 2 or 3 positive perks while having only 1 negative quirk. And then, for example, if you decide to build a barn or make another bedroom for your guest to stay the night in, and the next day you do not have enough money to cover their hourly wage, they will simply not show up for work. And so it will be up to you to do pouring of the drinks, serving the dishes, cleaning the tables, dealing with the rowdy customers, and doing the room service. All by yourself. Sure, you can save some money this way, but also you are risking losing the reputation of your establishment, because if you have unhappy guests, they will give you negative points into the next type of experience, which are the inn's reputation points. But reputation works in an interesting way. On one end, if you keep the guests happy, you will get those positive reputation points, and eventually even special guests will start showing up every 4 to 5 days, and they can stay from when the tavern has been opened all the way until closing time, ordering as many dishes or beverages as they can. And this way you will potentially be able, just from that one person, to earn a whole lot of reputational points. And you can go all the way up to level 35 with reputation. This is important because reputation alone seems like it will be special in later stages of the game, as in the northern portion of the map there is a cave with a portal to this monument, where after reaching every level, you get 10 points to unlock a dish. One recipe will cost you 5 points, so each level you go up, you can get 2 recipes, and if you choose incorrectly, like let's say picking up pumpkin pie, but you do not get sponge cake before, you will realize you cannot really make the pumpkin pie without the sponge cake. And fun thing is that the more ingredients and dishes that will become accessible because you unlock the recipe, like let's say sweet and sour pork, you learn how to make soy sauce all of a sudden. So it's kind of funny how you look over a recipe and you think to yourself, crap, I cannot make bread with the jam because I don't have the technology to make jam. Yet if you unlock toast with jam, you unlock the ability or the talent to start actually pickling fruits so that you have different jams for your toast and you can serve your customer different variants of jammed toast, each earning you different type of money depending on the fruit which you use. Heck, at one time I was selling just purely fruit juice out of melons because it made me 7 silvers, and even while combining, let's say, strawberry, raspberry, and wildberry in some beer, it was still not able to catch up money-wise. And here is also one fun aspect. Once you reach level 8 of the reputation point, you will unlock what is called the trends, and you will be able to view this booklet through your bar, and it will show you each week that the trends are different. So if you would be able to set up those dishes or beverages for your customers, which include either the ingredient or are specifically those dishes or beverages, it's more likely they will order more of them and you will make more profit, even if they are of the lower quality. Funny mechanic here too is also the return on all this work you do, and that makes you heavily invest into the last floor of your establishment, the basement. This is where the magic happens as you go from small square with like 3 barrels to a massive location with aging racks for cheese, preserves, and alcohol. As I mentioned, alcohol ages from basic to green to blue to purple and then eventually to orange quality. The longer you age the product, the better the selling price. But at the start, you will most likely be happy when you just can start serving anything besides water or tea to your customers for a bigger profit, rather than just the simple glass of water, which is being watered down apparently. This means that at the start you will most likely not go for the longer aging process, but you need to reach the blue quality of a beverage in order to serve it to the customer in the first place. So from the time which you actually craft something until you are able to serve it, few days will pass. So you will want to make sure that you will have a steady supply and you will not run out, because this will have detrimental effect on you, as serving something which makes you decent profit to going back to just simple glass of water will definitely slow down the overall progress. This is where that slow grind at the start or the slow start in the game keeps poking out its ugly face, and this is which might actually a lot of players find problematic, because if they would have the alternative source of acquiring certain ingredient like getting fish or some other resources, it would definitely help out the players, or being able to sell certain crops depending on the trends or something like this. It would definitely help speed up the process and thus making the game a better candidate for, let's say, 100 days in a video game eventually. And yes, when I say aging cheese, this means that you can build a barn and 2 coops, and these projects are however crazy expensive. But the family south of your house has you covered, as the husband will be able to build the barn or the coop and even upgrade these buildings, but just like even upgrading the features of your barn, like being able to contain more feed or more water for the animals, will cost you crazy amount of coins. So again, the repetitiveness and the longer grind will keep poking out its ugly face. One additional way for you to help improve your stats is by fulfilling quests on the bulletin board for meals and beverages. If you serve, let's say, gin with raspberries or melon flavored vodka, you collect experience which helps you level up your character's statistics. like bargaining deals, so prices for things are better, or you clean faster, you build more efficiently, you can craft out of one log 110% of burning wood or firewood or whatever else you need, and therefore increasing your output and building bigger surplus, having larger reserve of supplies, beverages or meals, and therefore having more money in your pocket. There is honestly a lot in the game, and just by traveling the map and exploring and foraging, you will probably guess that because you can make garlic shrimp or a bunch of dishes with fish, and there are all these piers leading into different bodies of water, fishing might eventually be a big factor in the game for you to gain access to some extra protein, as one major deviation from the standard games like Stardew Valley and others are that your sheep, cows, and pigs are not just used for milk or wool, but also for their meat. The longer and happier you have these animals, the more meat you can get, and you need to slaughter your pigs to have intestine to be able to make chorizo and other meat-based dishes, because seriously, if you keep feeding your guests lentils with fish, and one evening when you go light up the fireplace to keep your guests warm, one fart and the whole place will explode, and it will cost you another 30 gold coins just to fix the roof or something crazy like that. Overall, this game is a must try if you enjoy Stardew Valley, Graveyard Keeper, and games of such genre. And I usually do not recommend anything, but with the constant discounts and fun game loop, this game is definitely something to look out for, because it has that fun factor where you think, oh, I will just go one more day, and then you realize it's 4 AM and you should have been sleeping for a couple of hours already. But yeah. Before you also go, hey, check out the channel for other reviews, comparisons, and 100 days in video games, and I will see you in the comments, or at the next one, if I'm not still playing this game, because I swear to God, it's addictive as hell.